Social media and our friends can be full of negativity, right? And they also can give us a lot of bad advice. So how do we navigate our way through all this gauntlet of negativity? Well, in this episode, we're going to talk about that. So don't let anybody steal your aviation dream. This is how we're going to do it. We're going to give you some tools so you can navigate the gauntlet of that negativity. Hi, my name is Carl Valeri, host of Aviation Careers Podcast. I've been an aviation career coach since 2001. You can find out more at aviationcareerspodcast.com/coaching. If you need help both on a one-on-one basis or you want to join us in one of our group coaching sessions, which, by the way, if you do sign up, there's a special both for the one-on-one and also for the group coaching where you get 1 month free. You can check that out, aviationcareerspodcast.com/coaching. So let's talk a little bit about that negativity, how to keep positive in this really negative environment. So let's first talk about the environment. Today is October 6th of 2025. What's happening in the market right now? Well, things are getting a lot better. With that said, it's not like it was a year ago. I mean, things are terrific, right? I think they're terrific right now, but a lot of people aren't thinking that way because of the fact that they were so used to getting hired with very low hours and getting CJOs at very low hours. But with that said, we went up to these huge numbers getting hired at the majors, like 6, 7, 8,000 hours. Now we're back. We're seeing people get hired with normal numbers, 3,000 hours total time, 1,000 hours of jet time, 1,000 hours PIC turbine. Those are the kind of numbers that have been normal in the past. I understand a lot of people were getting hired with just their commercial multi at an airline with a CJO, and you would call them when you got to your 1,500 hours to get hired. So that's why people are so negative. But then again, people are negative anyway. So one of the things that you have to understand is that your friends, okay, what they're going to do is they're going to parrot what they see on social media. These are your friends that are not necessarily in aviation. And they see the news and they're like, oh my gosh, what's going on here? It's like we see news about aviation events and they think this is the first time this has ever happened. And you realize, oh, wait a minute, that's been going on for years. So that's something that we need to talk about. It's like, what do we need to do to prevent that? So just realize too, the source, right? A lot of times your friends are parroting what's on social media. So if those people are just temporarily figuring it's a negative environment, that's fine. Once you explain to them, hey, this is what's happening and things are really good. But if they still want to be negative, one of the things I think is a great tool is to make sure that you only share your dreams with a small group of people, right? And a small group of friends. One of the reasons I started doing that group mentorship and one-on-one coaching is because there's such a din of negativity out there. And this has been going on for as long as I've been on the internet. There's always this type of negativity, just in general. The other thing, too, is that if you put information and questions out on the internet, realize you're going to get 1,000 different answers based on that person's personal experience. So it may not be really negative, but it may be negative because they had a negative experience, and it also could be bad advice for you because it doesn't apply to you. That's why you want to get with somebody like a career coach like us that will actually help you and direct you in a direction that is good for you and your family. And that's one of the things that I think is incredibly important is choose your friends and choose your family members. That's important. Your family members who you actually share your dream with, because there's going to be a lot of them that don't want you to do this. A great example, my mom didn't want me to fly for one negative reason. She was afraid of, airplane crashes. That's all she heard about. And of course, we had a lot of friends that we lost in plane crashes, but also, we have friends that are lost in car wrecks. So either way, you're going to have some negativity no matter what. She turned around and actually liked the fact that I was flying for the airlines, but never wound up flying with me on an individual basis. So one of the things you have to do is moderate what you say to those individuals in your family that take a very negative view of the career choice that you've taken. Say you want to become a mechanic, a flight attendant, whatever it may be, there's something always negative about whatever you do. A doctor, a lawyer, an accountant, there's always something negative, but you have to look at the positives. And then if you are having a great time and you're really enjoying that, then you should do that and figure out a way to make money. Something that I realize you can't really choose your work associates, you can't choose your family, even your classmates and that thing, but you can choose who you share your dream with. One of the things that I thought was really interesting, eye-opening, is I recently went to my 40-year high school graduation. And it was anniversary, and that was really cool. That was a lot of fun. One of the things I found is that there was a few people there that had talked about their careers and said that they did this certain career because their family wanted them to do that. And that's what happens, is sometimes we get caught in this career that we really didn't want to do. And here it is 40 years later. These are all people in their 50s, late 50s, that are actually going towards a new career, a career that is more of a passion project than something they would have got into years ago. If they had just followed their passion, they possibly could have made money doing it. That's why this career here in aviation is really tough, because in the beginning, you don't make much money, if anything at all, while you're building hours to get to that first airline, to get to that first good corporate job. This is one of the problems, is that your family and your friends might say, look, you're not making any money. Well, they don't look in the future. And that's one of the things you have to do, is look towards the future. And that's why be very careful who you share your dreams with. And then also look at social media as far as friends and family. There's another spot that you share with friends and family online, right? And be careful there also who you share your dreams with and your goals with, because they can kind of squash those goals. What do I mean by that? A good example, Rick Felty, who's the editor, who's doing the editing right now on this. Rick and I have been friends for years, and well over a decade, and he and I have never physically met. We're kind of more online and virtual friends, right? Well, we stay friends because we can share things with each other and trust each other, that type of thing. So that's a great type of friend to have. Whereas if you have friends online, if they start going in that negative manner, maybe they're looking out for you, I get it. But if they continue on that negative rail of, hey, this is not good for you, I don't like this, and they continually bash whatever it is you do, you might want to choose to moderate your friends. So let's talk a little bit about that part of it. I talked about friends and family, but we also have these friends and family on social media. And I want to talk about some of those different social media sites and how you can actually use those social media sites to your favor, and also some of the ones I recommend. First of all, Facebook. Let's talk about Facebook. There's some productive groups on Facebook, but just remember those discussions can devolve very, very quickly. And what do I mean by that? There are some Facebook groups that aren't very well moderated. And, that's one of the reasons we do the group coaching, because in there we have moderation in our group. And same thing on some of the Facebook groups, is that you have to constantly monitor them. And if the person doesn't have the time or energy to moderate it, these discussions within those groups can really go negative very quickly. The best ones are those groups that stop people from having conversations that are negative or not helping the group in general. Now, as far as negativity, I'm not saying to disregard all negative statements. For instance, if you're trying to help somebody and say, hey, listen, I'd consider not going to that flight school because they're having financial problems, or they don't do a good job of training in what you're looking to do, I think that's a good thing. But again, with all reviews on there, just be very, very careful. So Facebook, great for friends. Some news, you got to remember, a lot of the news items that are out there are just flashy, and they really, they don't, a lot of times they're just trying to get you to read it. And sometimes they're clickbait. Remember, clickbait meaning that they have a title, brings you in, and it doesn't tell you anything about what the title actually was of that click, that thumbnail or whatever you clicked on. It's something else they're talking about. But there are some good things out there, and some things that you have to worry about as far as negativity. Hey, I've done one. What are the 10 reasons not to become an airline pilot? That's pretty darn negative. But I really wanted to give people true advice as to what you may think is a bad reason to become an airline pilot. The other social media, which is a little more passive, not as active, as YouTube. There's some great information on YouTube, and you can view many videos. We have a lot of videos on YouTube, but make sure you build trust, and you build trust in that person by listening to them or watching them over a long time. The other thing in the comments, that also can devolve into a very negative discussion, but there is one good thing about it, is that you can view what the moderator or the host says in those comments. And a lot of times that's how you can determine if this person truly is genuine or not. There's a lot of YouTubers out there that copy content. I've seen my content copied a few times, but you have to realize who the more genuine person is. And the only way you do that is over time and see what their messaging is. And I'm like that. I don't take content from other people unless I'm commenting on their content, which I rarely do. But I think it's really important to get out there and build trust. It can take years to build trust with a YouTuber. So look at the information. If it's good information for you, watch it. Even if it's a YouTuber you don't like, sometimes you can watch them. The other social media site, LinkedIn. LinkedIn is terrific. This is a great source used by all the different people that are in the career fields, both people looking for jobs and people that have jobs and people that are interested in certain types of jobs. It's really a professional network. These are comments that are placed out there are being viewed by potential employers. So I think people self-moderate their comments. A lot of times they don't devolve into true negativity as much on LinkedIn. I see them out there. That happens. But remember this, the recruiters are out there and the employers are out there, and you're going to converse with those people. Great resource, LinkedIn, for potential jobs, networking, and events. And as a matter of fact, in my mentorship group, I did a whole talk about LinkedIn. If you want to check that out, aviationcareerspodcast.com/mentorship, or click on the coaching, and you can actually find how you can join our mentorship group. If you do join, if you sign up, you get 1 month free with the paid membership, and you can cancel at any time. And use that coupon Coach It Forward if you want to do that. So again, LinkedIn is terrific. I think it's a great resource. And as a matter of fact, that's how recruiters get in touch with me, and we discuss things. A lot of what I discuss with recruiters, and this is another thing about building trust, I actually promise I won't tell out there in public, which kills me at times. Like everybody I think knows that United Airlines, right? That's where I have my biggest in, because most of my friends are there. I was, the furlough coordinator for United Express for many years, and I directly talked to the recruiters. Now, if I went out and shared, now be careful what I say, because I was given some information just a couple of weeks ago. If I shared that information with you right now, I would be breaking that trust, and that's something that's really important. I try to give advice based on that information, but I'm not going to directly say, so-and-so airline is going to hire 200 people next month, and then they start hiring 200 people next month. Well, there I lost my trust in those recruiters that I work with at those airlines, which is another reason that I started the group coaching, because I'm actually taking the information from those interviews that they do, and I put it out there. We have that in our group coaching. But that is really important, in the LinkedIn environment, is to build trust with those people that are out there. There's not as many scams because they get called out early. Another great resource after LinkedIn is Instagram. I think that is a fun and great way to stay really positive. There's those pictures and videos out there. I'm a big fan of pictures, so I'm a huge Instagram fan. But with all that said, there's not quite as much interaction as you would get on LinkedIn, professional interaction, I should say, but it is terrific. A lot of different resources out there, and it usually stays fairly positive. TikTok, another thing that I don't really use, but a lot of people do, because it's all videos, it's short form videos. You can get those short form videos in many other social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram. You can get those on YouTube, especially. I think YouTube is one of my favorite places for shorts, to be honest with you. There are some out, TikTok I know is good, and there's some great stuff out there. The other social media site I do want to talk about besides TikTok, I notice I didn't spend much time on TikTok, is X. X is really a kind of a newsy website, so you can get some really good news out there. You can get announcements of jobs and hiring and things like that. But I have to say, probably the best spot to go is LinkedIn as far as jobs and finding out what's happening. All these others are really good, but it's really nice because those conversations start out there. So again, these are the different websites. These are the different social media sites you might want to look at. Be careful who you talk to. Don't let anybody steal your aviation dream. Make sure that you talk to people that want to help you, friends, family, and moderate who you discuss things with. Maybe you want to talk to that person that is going to be positive, but also positive in a practical way. They might say, hey, listen, I think that this may not be good for you, and this is why. Don't just say, hey, I don't think this is good for you, don't do it. get an explanation from them. Some people are just negative and nervous Nellies, so you may not want to listen to those people. Same thing with online. Be very careful what you do online, but try not to let social media destroy your aviation dream. There's so much negativity out there. You might want to take a pause, especially from Facebook. That one can really devolve. But really make sure that when you're out there and you're trying to stay positive, one of the things I want you to do, and something you can take action on right now, is think about this. Do this for me. Think about the one person, it could be a family friend, or the one person that's a friend on Facebook, LinkedIn, that can enhance your life and help you move forward in your career. And do me a favor, reach out to them and just say, hey, what do you think of this? Or just actually, if you're not friends with them, make friends with them and link up with them, whatever it is. Say it's somebody on LinkedIn, it's a recruiter, start following them. But make sure you do something today to move forward in your career, especially when trying to not allow people to steal your aviation dream, because that is so important. You work so hard. This is not an easy career to get into. This takes lots of time and perseverance. And the one thing you don't want to do is let people squash those dreams. That's one of the reasons we started doing the one-on-one coaching. That's why I started doing the group coaching, is that it's so wonderful being able to actually celebrate people's successes during those coaching sessions and just listen to people as they progress in their careers and being in that positive environment. There's Facebook groups out there that I know can do that for you, but be very selective. There's YouTube channels out there, again, be very selective. But do me this favor. Take one step today to move forward in your career, and do that today. Look at the social media, look at your friends and family, choose one person that you think will be a big help in your career and in your life, and reach out to them. Say hello. Tell them what you're doing in your career. Tell them about one of your wins. See what their reactions are. Hopefully it'll be a good one. But make sure you take that step today. We'll talk to you in the next episode. Safe flying out there.